Good evening, Mr. Bond fans, and welcome once again. It's been a while since I've made another video update on the progress of the production of Bond 25, and to be honest, I've been holding off all this time because I could have sworn that the next update video I was gonna make was the one where they finally announced the final title and the cast and all that kind of stuff, but then trouble struck once again. So as you already know, the release date has been changed yet again from February 14th, 2020 to... Oh, actually, wait a minute, I can't even remember these things anymore. It changes that bloody much. Okay, there we go, April 8th. April 8th, 2020 is the new release date. As you can tell, I have not yet committed that date to memory because honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if that date changed once again. Just as a sidebar, and I know that this isn't even remotely important in the grand scheme of things, but it really annoys me that they changed the release date, like literally a few days after I uploaded my re-ranking video, which I uploaded on that date specifically because then it was a whole year to go until the next Bond film, and I opened the video saying, we have a year to go until the next Bond film, guys, and now I just know that I'm gonna have to spend the rest of my YouTube life, having comments from people being like, oh, it's not actually due out on February 14th, One of the main developments to facilitate the change of date is that the script is apparently undergoing further rewrites, by Scott Z. Burns, who is a guy who I'm not very familiar with his work, but I understand he is a script doctor and quite often he gets uncredited gigs on major productions, and I've heard several reports that have said that his contribution to Bond 25 is something of an overhaul of the script after the director and executives weren't terribly pleased with it. That would be the Neil Purvis and Robert Wade script, I'm assuming. But of Scott Z. Burns' credited work, I of course know the Bourne series, and he was a credited writer on the Bourne Ultimatum, and he also is credited on Contagion, which is a film that I quite liked when I saw that a few years ago. So I think his work kind of speaks for itself. I just am slightly concerned that this is yet another writer who is being drafted into this project. I would have thought that after Danny Boyle left, and he took John Logan, his writer, with him, I would have thought that other aspects of the production would at least have had an idea of what this film was going to be, and it just feels like it's changing a lot and very quickly, and that is the more worrying side of it for me, that there doesn't seem to still be one clear vision of what this film is going to be. And that's very concerning. Of course, I'm just kind of, projecting onto it, like, so many films, major releases like this undergo rewrites, and uncredited writers and script doctors come in all the time to, touch up these kind of projects. But it's just combining that with all of the palaver of the pre-production so far, it's just, it's impossible not to get some bad vibes from this production so far. But on a more positive note, Rami Malek is being strongly rumoured, and it looks like a surefire thing that he's going to be the main Bond villain of Bond 25, and I'm totally down with that. I think he's a really great actor, and I like the idea of Bond going up against someone who's younger than him. The rumours are suggesting that he's going to be some kind of, Elon Musk, tech entrepreneur, and I like the idea of Bond going against someone like that. I just hope that we can do away with the whole theme of, old versus new, and the old ways are the best, and all that kind of stuff, because I had a little bit too much of that with Craig recently, and he's just often being drafted in as this curmudgeonly dinosaur, and these young kids with their technology and their gadgets. But I think Rami Malek has a great physicality, and I think he could make for a really great villain, and it, is a trilogy of Oscar-winning main villains. And the other main bit of Bond 25 news right now is that the working title was, well, I want to say, because it was kind of, I thought it was confirmed a while ago that Bond 25's working title was Shatterhand, but apparently it got some publicity lately. So there's been a lot of talk about it, and I am, of course, not a huge fan of that being the final title of Bond 25, and I must stress that this is still a working title. I can't imagine that the final film is going to be called Shatterhand. So in the, 2 days since I actually recorded this image appeared from a fan who met Barbara Broccoli and asked her to sign a fan-made Shatterhand poster, and Barbara Broccoli did so, and added a little note to it saying, "It's not," and then pointing at Shatterhand. So a lot of people have taken this as a sign, and, to be honest, it's probably true that Shatterhand is not going to be the title of the next Bond movie. However, these are the same people who were saying that, oh, Christoph Waltz isn't Blofeld a few years ago when it was leading up to the release of Spectre, so I'm taking it with a pinch of salt right now, even though it probably is true and the title isn't Shatterhand, but based on past experiences, I'm not 100% sold on this just yet. But if it is called Shatterhand, then you will know that I am going to sort of have my arms crossed a little bit, because of course Shatterhand is a code name used in the Fleming books for Blofeld, and so if the film is called Shatterhand, it looks like Blofeld might be back in the movie, and that is something that I'm not a fan of. It just further fuels the idea that we're gonna get some kind of revenge story from Bond in this, and Madeline Swan's gonna be bumped off at some point and by Blofeld, and Bond has to go after Blofeld for revenge. And if that is a part of this movie, then please just let it be the pre-credit sequence and then do something completely different with the rest of the movie. I do not want a whole movie of Bond pining for Madeline Swan, after she's dead, and going after Blofeld, and I mean, if Rami Malek is being, oh god, unless Rami Malek is playing Blofeld, that thought never occurred to me until just now, but oh god, that would be dreadful. I hope Rami Malek is playing a separate villain, and maybe he gets involved with Madeline, because it looks like Lea Seydoux is pretty much guaranteed as returning as Madeline Swan. I just don't want it to be Blofeld. Use Shatterhand as a name for another villain. Just do not bring back Blofeld to do that story. And if you do bring back Blofeld, do it in an interesting way. But I just, if they do that whole revenge thing, because I've been nervous about, there is a rumoured set being built in Norway for Bond 25, and it's this sort of very quaint, cute-looking cabin out in what looks like the middle of nowhere, and I just have a terrible impression that that's going to be where Bond and Madeline have shacked up after getting married, and they're living peacefully there, and then Blofeld and a load of goons turn up, or just a load of goons turn up, and shoot Madeline dead or something. I just don't want that, because it's been done before. I don't, So those are my thoughts on the whole Shatterhand thing. Is anyone else out there, looking forward to that potentially being the film's main title, and therefore have Blofeld come back? The most positive I ever hear people talk about Spectre and the whole Bond and Blofeld brothers thing and Madeline Swan is that, oh well, it didn't bother me that much, which is hardly a resounding review, so I just can't imagine that there are many people out there who would be excited about such a development, but I might be wrong, and if I am, let me know in the comments below. And until next time, Bond fans, please check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon, and until next time, so long for now.